Welcome, Tim. We will start in a moment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you for being here. Well, we have now the presentation from Timm Doebert. It's called Wings of Survival, Rewilding Minds and Ecosystems Through Impact Storytelling. Dr. Timm Doebert is a Canadian-German conservation scientist with a PhD in global change ecology from the University of Western Australia. He researches the human footprint on natural ecosystems underpinned by a drive to safeguard the wild spaces and wildlife. Timm holds fellowships in the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, the Scientific Exploration Society, and the Explorers Club. He is a commission member for the International Union for Conservation of Nature and a global sustainable sport partner with purpose. Timm is also an impact endurance athlete with accomplishments ranging from a 30-day coast-to-coast cycling traverse of Canada to Ironman triathlons. For the past 4 years, he has been developing Wings of Survival, a groundbreaking expedition trilogy inspired by the world's greatest athletes, migratory birds. The first expedition, a 30,000-kilometer bike ride from Alaska to Patagonia, alongside elite endurance athlete Liana Carrier, is set to start in June 2026. So welcome, Tim. The space is yours. I don't know if you have a presentation.
I do. Thank you so much for
Perfect.
the introduction, and thanks everyone for being here. I'm based in Edmonton, in Canada, so you're probably many of you are in much warmer, nicer places right now. We just had the first snow yesterday, and just a moment, I'm trying to, share. Is this looking promising?
Yeah. Yes.
We're looking, but it's not yeah, we're looking your whole screen now.
That's good. Okay, so just to mention, I have two videos that I'd love to play, and I have links in my presentation. Let's see how that goes. If it doesn't play for some reason, I did email you the two features as well, and maybe there's a way you can play it on your end. But let's see once we get there. So yeah, thanks again for the introduction. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm feeling very privileged to present Wings of Survival to you, and I think because everyone or most of you are based across the Flyway, there might be opportunities to talk and see how we can potentially collaborate or even just meet up along our journey. So it's a story that I've co-developed with Liana, and it's essentially, as you mentioned in the intro, it's a trilogy of expeditions. So this is really underpinning Wings of Survival as a story. And the idea is we're going to have a race with nature. So we're going to use the Flyway to cycle on the first expedition, Alaska to Patagonia. And we're not just doing this for the athletic feat, but we're actually using the Flyway alongside the whimbrels. So we've selected the whimbrel as our focal species because the whimbrel potentially goes all the way to Tierra del Fuego. So it's going to be the first time humans are following migratory birds on bicycles. And what we've developed is really a blend of, it's about science, it's about education, it's about community, and an attempt to blend this into an impact story. So the first expedition, as mentioned, is going to be from the top of the Americas, from Prudhoe Bay, and going all the way down to Tierra del Fuego. We're going to start in June 2026, next year, 7 months, I think it's away. Sounds like a long time, but it feels really close. And it's going to be around 30,000 kilometers. And we're trying to achieve this in 9 months because, as I said, we follow the migration of whimbrels. And at some point, they're going to return to Alaska, and we probably don't want to cycle back. So we want to make it to Tierra del Fuego before the birds start to return. So that gives us about 9 months. And at this point, I would love to play a teaser. Can you still see? Do you see my presentation, or do you see the teaser opening?
The presentation. We are seeing the presentation.
Okay, right. So you don't see my Vimeo.
I do have your page open. If the video is in your page, I can show it.
Okay, I stop sharing. And,
okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna share. Oh, sorry, I do not put the right information.
It was the right spot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is this the video you want to show?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna start playing.
We are going to start this journey in the high Arctic, which marks the beginning of one of nature's most amazing journeys. From there, we're going to pack raft, hike, and cycle for 30,000 kilometers in a first of its kind race with nature.
We've lost 3 billion birds in the last 30 years just in North America. It really makes us want to take a stand and do something crazy to make people start to pay attention. Timm and I are going to be the first people to ever follow the birds along the Pacific Flyway on bikes. If the birds are dying, the environment's not thriving, and that is a call to action. So originally, when I wanted to ride this highway, seeing the male record attempt had just got broken, I think in some point during COVID. And then so I thought to myself, oh, I wonder what the female record is. So I looked it up, the Guinness record, and no female has established a record on this highway. So I thought, well, I could do that. So starting in Purdue Bay is a must. If we're not starting there, then there's no record attempt. Pack rafting in the Arctic Refuge, which is the most wild place on this planet.
We're going to be on rivers which we just haven't tackled in the past.
Timm and I thought it was really important that we took these lessons and learned what we needed to do to give us the confidence to be out there on our own in literally the middle of nowhere. Just us and some polar bears. I feel having a strong relationship is super important, and if the relationship's not strong, the project's gonna fold. I don't think he realizes that. I've been very close at times to just being like, I'm done, like I can't.
I'm really putting the expedition first, because I think we all benefit so greatly from this expedition if we do it well. What I really like about Leanna is that she's got this openness to explore and to do things despite being in a challenging situation. So I believe the biggest support I can give to Leanna in this point in time is to really focus on the expedition. It's essential to take action now. There's basically no time left to sit back and wait. It has to be now.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I go back to my screen. Okay, is this good? I'm back to my presentation. Perfect. So I'd like to briefly take a step back just to explain. Okay, just a moment. Okay, here we go. Just to explain how I've gotten to this point, or how we have gotten to this point. And so by training, I'm a tropical ecologist, and I was very fortunate to do my PhD at a University of Western Australia, but I was doing all my research on Borneo. So I was living in this kind of camp, makeshift camp that you can see, and this beautiful hammock underneath was my home for 3 years. So I had this fantastic immersion into the rainforest, and working very closely with local people, and really at the time very strongly believing that my science is going to make this big difference. So I was part of a large project looking at conversion of forest into oil palm plantations, a very hot topic at the time. So I was genuinely thinking, writing papers is going to make all the difference, and you put all this effort into this. And then, yeah, about 7 years ago, I came to Canada. I did 2 postdocs. I started working on prairie ecosystems, but similar idea, human footprint on nature. And increasingly, I got very frustrated about not seeing the impact I'd love to see, or perhaps realizing that just doing science is not enough. So yeah, I was in this space where I started to really understand that the crises we're facing, there is biodiversity loss, and there's climate change, and there's social problems. But it's fundamentally rooted in this disconnect we have to nature, and it's fantastic to see studies really backing up, increasingly backing this up, this feeling, and that's where Liana jumps into the story. So Liana, as you introduced her, is a really good athlete, and she was Canada's first female decathlete, specialized in pole vaulting. So when I met her, she had this idea to cycle the Pan American Highway, that's during COVID, and be the fastest woman to do so. And for me, didn't think too much about it at the time, but it was, in hindsight, it was a really important cue for me, or maybe the final puzzle piece to really come up with a story. And what happened was, a few weeks later, I saw this map of flyways, and something for me just clicked. And I was just thinking, this would be so unique to cycle the Pan American Highway and extend this to other flyways, but focus on this highway first, and really blend conservation, nature, storytelling, and athletics into a very powerful story. So this is how the project was born. That's about 4 years ago. And this is really at the center, at the heart of the story. It's this idea of rewilding, and it's not just in a physical space, rewilding ecosystems, but it's really the rewilding of the human mind and the human heart. And I think fundamentally storytelling is absolutely critical to reach people. And I love science. I continue to do science, but it's just this additional layer of trying to find an avenue to have impact. So it's really about building bridges. It's about relatability. So that's one of the other takeaways from having been a scientist for such a long time. It takes a human element oftentimes to really capture people's attention. It's very hard to communicate facts and numbers unless there's an emotional connection. So this is where the story comes in. We do science along the journey. I think very fascinating science. So the first one is the bird migration in itself. So up in Alaska, we're going to work with Manomed, and Manomed has been tagging whimbrels for a couple of years. So the idea is we'll probably have 5 birds with fitted with GPS trackers. And then we're basically setting the scene for this parallel journey. So people can follow the birds online, they can follow us online. So it's creating the bridge between, we call it the world's greatest endurance athlete, the whimbrel, that's not us, and we're trying to keep up. So that's the first element, it's the migration. And then the second one is, and you saw a bit in the video, we're working with scientists who study us, the physiology, the psychology, our nutrition. And it's very interesting science in itself. And we just had the first paper published a few days ago based on our ride across Canada. So it's interesting science, but it's also creating content that allows us to build this bridge to the birds, because a lot of people study bird physiology and it's absolutely fascinating. But for humans to get a sense of what that means is, again, I feel it takes that human element. So we're very excited to work with scientists in that space. We're also going to treat this journey as a natural history transect, maybe the longest ever, I don't know, but it's basically along that journey, we're going to, for example, use acoustic monitoring devices and record the soundscape. It's a wonderful way to bring in people. So every day we can give people not just a glimpse of, not just a visualization, but a glimpse into the soundscape. But we're also collecting really interesting data as to how diversity changes across this enormous transect flyway. And the last one, which is in discussion right now, is more around kind of a social natural science piece, people and nature. So that's something I'm working on at the moment. And then there's the education component. And I don't know if Maria is tuning in, but I know her well. And it's so she was on Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. Maybe some of you have watched this or maybe been part of it. It's a fantastic initiative that Joe's been running for a number of years. So Joe is going to provide a Starlink device, so we have access to connect to audiences virtually on the go. We're going to have a weekly tune in into classrooms so students can really be part of this journey all the way from the top down to the bottom. So I'm very excited about this partnership. That's the virtual component. And then we have on the ground education as well. So Wison and Manomed, they're at the moment our two core partners. So we're going to develop projects, probably one in each country. So it's 15 countries. En route that we're passing, we'll focus on different Wison sites. And I'm sort of giving this out of my hands. So I really want the local people to create an event that they feel is most valuable. We just want to come with this overarching story and the media and the interest, but we really want to help local initiatives drive some momentum and interest within their community. So it's not just shorebirds, but we come on the bicycles, so we get young people to come and join us on the bicycles, really same as we're doing on a larger scale. It's this idea of combining athletics and conservation into a very organic story. And so in terms of telling the story, so we have the film and we're absolutely grateful. So you saw the teaser for Justin and Moving Artistry Productions. Justin's been filming us for the last 3 years. You might have recognized some places in the teaser. So we've spent some time in Patagonia doing an Ironman and filming, and I've lived in Colombia the last 2 winters, desperately trying to learn more Spanish, really important for the expedition. And we've spent some time in Alaska working with scientists and some pack raft training. So very grateful for having this. At the moment, it's an international production team to document this journey. And then there's, as I mentioned, the virtual and in-person classrooms. There's the work with Joe and Manomed and Wison. We're going to have an adventure map on the website. So that's basically a map that allows us to upload content on a daily basis as we navigate the flyway. People can see the journeys of the Wimbrels. They can see our journey. They'll see some Strava data because people are interested in our kind of how many calories do we burn and sort of the human physical side of things. We'll have a story map as well. And as you can see here, there's a lot of media interest. And I've tried a little bit in Spanish. I had a Spanish interview in Colombia, and that was interesting. I basically didn't understand anything. I just said something, whatever I could say, I said. But it's a very important component to have this traditional media, but then obviously also social media, be it Instagram or different channels. We have a big team of partners, which we're very grateful for. So there's the exploration side of things, so different societies and clubs. There's this interface of sports and nature, which is increasingly of interest. The IUCN, for example, has a Sports for Nature initiative now. There's different brands that are supporting us. There's academia. So we're always interested. There's definitely a bias towards North America at the moment. So we're very much interested to find partners in Latin, South America too. So happy to talk if anyone's interested to explore some potential partnerships. And yeah, so this is the best way to kind of tune in at the moment. There's the Instagram, there's the website. There's a lot of information. I've got a little, everything's work in progress. There should be a little button that translates into Spanish for the website. The trailer is so new, it was just released a couple of days ago, so I don't have Spanish subtitles. I have to apologize for just having the English version at the moment. Yeah, I don't have my email on here, but I'd love for people to reach out. It's definitely on the website. And yeah, should be easy to find or to contact on Instagram or maybe via you guys. So I'll stop here. So we have a bit of time for question. It's, as I said, it's 4 years. It's very condensed right now. So yeah, let's see if there's questions.
Thank you, Tim. Can everyone hear me?
I can.
Yes? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. So we have 9 minutes for questions. If anyone has a question, you can raise your hand. If not, I have a question. Okay, I'll start with my question. So when you do all these expeditions, how do you compare what you feel like physically and in endurance? Like, how do you imagine birds feel? Like, how can you compare your feeling and like this endurance that you have to do this journey? And how do you compare it with how might birds feel when they migrate?
Yeah, that's a fascinating question. I like this, and in part because we can't scientifically explore this. So it's an interesting question, and you know, something that always comes to my mind is not just the incredible duration and distance of the migration, but I always wonder. There's this little bird born up high up in the Arctic. You know, it's sort of opening her eyes for the very first time, and then embarking on this incredible migration. It's just hard for me to fathom just the courage it takes for being willing to leave this nest and basically fly into the unknown. I find that absolutely unreal. It sort of dwarfs everything that we are capable of, I feel. So I don't know how they're going to feel. I think we all might have our own imaginations, but I'm absolutely fascinated about the bravery and courage that it takes for a bird, as well as sort of the evolution behind it. You know, this drive to travel across these humongous distances, you know, to make it worthwhile, basically, to have this drive to leave one place and go somewhere else. Yeah, I find that absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. If anyone has another question, we have still some minutes. Thank you, Laura.
Hola, Tim. Voy a hacer mi pregunta en español, pero sí escucha la traducción, ¿verdad? ¿Estás con traducción?
Okay, I think I have to.
I think you have to go to the
Okay, if not, I can
translation.
just do it in English.
Okay, maybe that's easier.
Yeah. So I'm more curious about the storytelling component of this project. So what can you advise to people to better or improve our storytelling abilities? How can we have a story and let the world know and be interested in it? What can you advise us?
Yeah, thanks so much. And I think, I mean, for me, this is very much an exploration, right? I'm really branching out from my academic career. But I think what's absolutely critical is to really follow one's passion. You know, it's sort of, as I said, for me, jumping into the unknown and trying something completely different, but having the confidence to try something really different. It's oftentimes, or maybe always, really rewarding. And I mean, I have so many takeaways from trying to create momentum. What I can say is, having done this for years, just generally speaking, not just storytelling, but it's an absolute grind. You know, oftentimes you find a certain relationship would be so intuitive, let's say to a particular NGO, and surely they're going to come on board and they can't wait for this project. But it's not that easy. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of up and down. It's been a good trajectory pointing in the right direction. And when it comes to storytelling, as I said, I think if we want to capture those people who don't naturally gravitate towards conservation and nature and birds, we have to find creative ways. And this can be sports as this incredibly big platform, arts, equally powerful. So I think being creative as to allowing ourselves to really try something different, because we need to capture people outside of this silo, right? So I think really allowing oneself to be absolutely creative, and again, the human element is just so important, because that's just like any species, we relate much more easily. We relate easiest to our own kind. So people are drawn to human stories. So let's use this to find creative ways to really plant seeds for people to have more appreciation and interest in nature.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple more minutes if anyone has a question for Timm. Maybe there are some athletes there in the group.
Well, maybe I don't know if there's a question, but maybe I just add, as I said in the beginning, we don't want to be anonymous on this journey. We very much just want to be catalysts for a bigger picture effort, which is everything that you guys are working on and the different organizations. We're really just using our passion and experience and interest and abilities to create something different, but it's the stories that you create on the ground, which we'd love to help tell. So anyone keen to cycle with us, come and join us. We're not crazy fast because we have to cycle for 9 months. It's a long way. So come and join us on bicycles. Yeah, if you want to be part of events that we're creating, let's talk.
Thanks, Jim. I have another question. Since you are traveling down from Alaska to South America, is there a way that we can help you in this journey? Because you might be traveling through our countries. So is there a way that we can help you or support your project?
For sure. I think something that and we're doing this quite a bit in Colombia, just because I've spent more time in Colombia and have more connections. But as I said, we're really trying to bring people on this journey actively. So connecting communities where people join us for a day and then the next community takes over. So yeah, with anyone who's based in the Flyway, I would love to talk and see if there's ways to help identifying people within those communities who we can talk to, and maybe find ways for people to come and join us. That would be incredibly helpful.
Thank you so much, Timm. Thanks for your presentation.